When Christ establishes the church, he builds the church, and he entrusts the church with a mission. And let's talk about one of those scenes. It's in Matthew chapter 28. We call it the Great Commission. So if you'd like to join along with us, we're going to read Matthew chapter 28. It's the last couple lines of Matthew's gospel. Yeah. And Jesus takes 11 disciples. So in Matthew chapter 28, verse 16, the 11 disciples, so this is post-resurrected Jesus. Yeah. They're at a mountain predetermined by Christ up in Galilee. And he takes 11. Judas has killed himself, so this is the other 11. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Yep. Which is interesting that even in the resurrection,
it is interesting.
They will believe in the end, but right then and there, they're just having a hard time. Some of them are still doubting.
Yep.
And these are important words right here in verse 19. Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always to the close of the age."
Yeah.
So it's called the Great Commission.
Yes.
And it's great because it's basically Jesus saying, go and take the world.
Yep.
The whole world's a mission field.
Yeah.
And it's also a co-mission, like co-shared mission. Yeah. So it's not something that we're going to be alone in.
It not only not alone, but it came from somewhere. Because that's the first thing that I was thinking of when we talk about formed for mission. Well, what is the mission? And people they receive a mission, and so where did it come from? And then these are those famous words that it came from the Lord.
Well, and here too, looking at this, is that this is a commission. This is a command of Christ to go. And here, the 11 are receiving it, the apostles. Yeah. But this is a responsibility that's laid on every Christian's shoulder.
Yeah, so
we're all called to go out.
And how do we know that? Because being that it's just here, it's given to the 11. How is it that we know that all Christians are called to participate in this mission?
Yeah, so we have the other passages we could go to in the other Gospels, but that might be fun for other shows to kind of see what the other Gospels are saying in this. But each of the 4 Gospels has a Great Commission where it's universal in aspect, meaning it's for everyone, and everyone's called to participate in it, and it has the assurance of Christ's presence in.
Right, and that's the only way it would work.
Exactly,
we need Jesus' help. But this is, this is a great call to Catholics for sure. This is historically, at least in the Church in America, it has been a weak spot, so to speak. Of evangelization is something that not most often, but has been commonly more been an aspect of Protestant Christianity, evangelical Christianity, and that as Catholics, we can almost have this bunker in mentality, and it's like, no, that is completely anti the gospel, that the gospel is meant to be shared. And as Catholics, in the most central way, that is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to look at what Jesus has done. We are supposed to be transformed interiorly by him. We are supposed to be converted ourselves regularly, ongoing. And that news is supposed to transform us in such a way that we have to tell everybody.
Yeah, and that's what we do with good news, right?
Yeah,
when you get engaged, she said yes. I want to tell everyone. I don't want to keep it to myself. Right. That we're expecting a baby. These kinds of good news can't help but be shared.
Yeah.
And our lives should be so transformed by the good news of Jesus Christ that we want to share that with others.
And that gives us kind of the impetus for it's not like evangelization is not placed on us like an obligation, like it's just something that's part of the deal, right? Like it's not just like you just slog your way through it. And one of the great texts that has been looked at over the past several decades by the popes is Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman, that Jesus encounters her, he reveals kind of her to herself. He tells her everything she ever did. And she's so impacted by this, she has to tell everybody.
She goes to the village and tells everyone that she was trying to hide from before.
Yeah.
She's different.
Let me tell you. And it's like, do I feel that? Do I feel like, Jesus, what you have done in my life, what he has done through the sacraments in my life, do I stand up and say, like, I have to tell people? Like, has it impacted us in such a way that it cannot be held? It cannot be held onto. It must be shared.
When you go through the Gospels and you see that it's a sign of a true encounter with Christ, that people are different, they go away different, and they go and tell others about it.
Yeah.
So this is a good lesson for us, a good examination of conscience for us. Are we people convicted like that?
Yeah.
That we've met Christ and we can't help but share Christ with others.
And we can ask him. If say you find yourself in your boat and you're like, I don't feel that way. I don't, I love going to mass and I love praying the rosary, but never have I felt this call that I have to tell other people about it. I should just leave people to how it is. And you're hearing these words and it's like, I want to be encountered by Christ in this way. We ask him. right?
Yeah.
Ask him, like, Lord, please encounter me. I want to live a radical life. I want to be transformed. I want to be turned into your saint. I always think of one of my favorite saints is St. Philip Neri. And after he prayed in the catacombs for 10 years, he receives kind of this mystical new heart, this heart that gets enlarged, it's inflamed by love. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want. Like, I want a heart that is so on fire for God that I have to tell people about what he has done in my life. And we can ask him that. Yeah, if we find ourselves in a place where it's like, yeah, no, I'm not living that way. I haven't been transformed in that way. I want to have that impetus of evangelization. Good, go to prayer, kneel, ask God, like, Lord, I beg you to encounter me in such a way that I can't help but tell people about what you are doing.
Right. And we want this show to have conversations about, do you have to do it all the time? You know, do you have to be like a weirdo about it or something? Yeah. You know, like we you know,
we've all encountered those people.
We know those people.
We don't have those people.
The short answer, you know, is no, you don't have to. But you have to be someone who's completely converted and won over to Christ, and that when there's an opportunity to share the faith with somebody, that you take those opportunities.
And it's also understanding like what the truth of the gospel really is. Here I'm thinking of Gaudium et Spes, where it says that Christ reveals man to man himself and reveals his true destiny and leads him into, I think it's life, light, and freedom. That it's like the reason we're sharing the gospel, it's not just because it's like something has, so to speak, impacted me and it's merely I have to tell you about how it's changed me. It's like, no. I believe that Jesus is the fulfillment to everything you want too. Like, it's not just a sharing, so to speak, of merely a subjective experience of encounter with God. It's drinking deeply of that belief and that claim that Jesus is the fulfillment of every human heart, and that evangelization comes from a place of I desire for other people to enter into the joy that I have. I want other people to experience the freedom of the life in Christ. I want other people to reach their destiny. I want other people to live the life that God has in store for them, has planned for them, because it's the best thing for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, St. Augustine, the patron of the Augustine Institute, and has a famous line in his Confessions: "Our hearts, you have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you." And the idea is that we have all been made in the image and likeness of God. We've all been made with this restless heart.
Yeah.
And my restless heart is finding peace in the Prince of Peace, Jesus. And I know that your restless heart could also find
looking
peace
for the same thing.
And so it gives you a freedom to know that you also are seeking what I'm seeking.
Yeah.
Is this relationship with Christ and have peace.
And maybe just a couple notes about how reassuring it is that Jesus' promise of peace. Jesus' promise of presence, that he will be with us.
I will be with you to close age.
This is not like some endeavor that we're on our own on, that you're left to your own devices and you got to figure out the best arguments and you got to like reach everybody. It's like, no. You are following, you are being led. And our job is to ask for the eyes to see how we are being led and then to respond to that, but that we're not alone and that we cannot convert people like at all. We cannot do this mission that Jesus gave us on our own.
Yep. He doesn't just say, here's the task, good luck.
Yeah, like go get them.
No, here's the task. I'm going to be with you.
I'm helping.
I'm going to help you with this.
Like he wants us to do it with him, which is awesome, because it would be pretty boring if like we converted, we were baptized, we're living the life of faith, and then it was just like over. Like in order for our lives to have meaning, it's like, I want to be in the game. I want to participate in this. And God, he built us. He wants us to have that desire.
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about Christianity not being a spectator sport.
Yeah. Like,
it's not just something like, hey, good luck. You guys are doing a great job. No, we're actually players on the field.
And we want to be. Like when you look deep down in, it's like nobody wants to be lazy. Like nobody wants to sit on
ride the bench.
Nobody wants to do that. Yeah. Like I want to, and that takes courage. It takes vulnerability. It takes humility, because God is the principal actor. So you need to ask him for help. You cannot do it on your own. But we wouldn't have it any other way.